So, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, which is what I have here once again, it is a satire or a parody of the musical biographical genre. After the success of the Johnny Cash biography film Walk the Line and the Ray Charles film Ray with Jamie Foxx in it, it was only a matter of time before a satire of those films came to fruition. And it did happen in the Dewey Cox story. Pretty much everything you'd expect in a musical biographical film. Shows all the cliches or the tropes that are used in my musical biography genre. He came from humble beginnings. He had a real tough childhood. Then he becomes a big star. He writes a few hit songs, a few number one songs. He's a A-list musical icon. And then he succumbs to the temptations of music, drugs, and affairs. Sleeping or having sex with different women on the road. All the temptations that you'd expect while on the road when it comes to music. And of course, he gets into drugs. And the way they introduce Dewey Cox to drugs. Okay, so Tim Meadows he plays Sam, the drummer and the drug dealer. And every time he introduces Dewey to a new drug, he always tells him, "Get out of here, Dewey." Dewey Cox asks, "What's going on in here?" And he goes, "We're doing something called cocaine, and you don't want to be a part of this." "What's cocaine do?" "Don't try it, Dewey. It's a nightmare." "I think I'm going to try it." Yes, in real life, drugs are bad, but they really turn drugs into comedy. They turn everything into comedy. And my friend, who's a giant fan of the 1950s, oh boy, is he going to love this film. I can't wait to show this to him one day, or maybe have him watch this, because he really loves the 50s, especially Elvis. Yes, they do. Jack White does a good or an okay satire of Elvis. My friend, who I just said is a big Elvis fan, looked at that and he said, "That is a terrible impersonation of Elvis right there." Yes, I agree. Elvis didn't have a big hair like that. Elvis had a nice, kind of like a James Dean slicked back hair, almost. And this film, like I said in the first video, does a good job at depicting the trends of each decade. And it does a fantastic job with parody. People think parody is dead. I say, think again. There is a sign of hope that parody will continue, thanks to the Dewey Cox movie. And John C. Reilly, well, just a few months before Step Brothers came out, this is comedy gold at its best. Especially at the part when he goes to rehab because he's on drugs. "Okay, let's go to rehab." And he's in a rehab bed, kind of like the scene from Ray. He's going, "Oh my God, I'm so hot. The doctor says, "Nurse, we need fewer blankets, doctor, let's go." "I'm too hot and I'm too cold at the same time." "Doctor, he needs more blankets and he needs less blankets." "I'm afraid you're right." First time I saw that, it was on TV. Just a little bit of it, just that one part, and I saw it with my mom. This is definitely not a movie you should watch with your parents because there's a lot of inappropriate stuff. But the only appropriate scene I do remember seeing with my mom in this movie was that part. And I remember commercial break happened and my mother and I just looked at each other and just... I'll never forget laughing like that with my mom because that was one of the best memories I have with her. So, if I had to choose my favorite part of Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, there is no favorite part. I loved it from start to finish. I'm surprised I don't own this movie yet. It is, but I'm also very surprised this didn't get attention when it first opened. It still doesn't get a lot of attention. Why? So, if you have a thing for parody or satire films, this one's for you. Absolutely. From start to finish, I guarantee you're going to laugh to the point where you need a lung transplant. I kind of hope not, but you will. I'm going to give it the best satire ever, best satire since Spaceballs, 10 out of 10 film cameras.